This video is an alien abduction account from a subscriber who is a multiple-time abductee. Now, I'll be reading, he sent me several emails describing each of the abductions that he actually remembers, and I will be reading those in order, and each one will probably be its own separate video. This is his first abduction account, and I'll be reading the email essentially verbatim. The only things that I'm going to edit out are inconsequential points where he's just talking to me, as well as anything that could potentially identify him, because he does wish to remain anonymous. I'll be referring to him as Ned in future videos, even though Ned is not his real name. But since now I'm covering two abductees, I need some way of differentiating them. So anyway, I will be reading his account essentially verbatim, so here goes. Hi Drew. I'll start with the first abduction. One thing before I start. I've never told anyone everything that has happened to me. Well, actually one person a short time ago. An American friend, but she hasn't told anyone. It was only several months ago that I actually told my wife, and I had to be drunk to do that. But I haven't told her about every abduction for reasons you will see later. Although there were times she was taken too, but she simply doesn't remember. I'll get into that later. The last few times I was taken, last year, I told MUFON about, but not the early stuff, as they didn't seem that interested, and I couldn't remember in which order things happened in the early days. But it was the first time I told anyone, and I find it a rather hard topic to talk about. Occasionally lately I'll say something cryptic on a YouTube channel, then usually delete it after getting a lot of abuse from trolls. The first time I remember like it was yesterday, even though it was over 25 to 30 years ago. But some of the ones in between I'm a little hazy about the order, so you'll have to forgive me there. It was a long time ago. Now everything I'm about to tell you is the truth as I remember it. I will not make anything up or exaggerate. It is how I remember it. Sometimes I only remember them coming for me, nothing after. A bit dull, but I'll tell you anyway if that's what you want. But I'll tell you something I truly believe. With some of the things I've seen and experienced that you'll hear about later, I honestly think nearly everybody is abducted at some time or another. It's like a cattle market. The only difference is that most people, 99%, simply have no idea and don't remember and never will. It's just the odd, unlucky person, like myself, that occasionally do for whatever reason. We are simply no more than lab rats to these things. Sorry, I'm rambling again. Let's go. I'm not sure how long ago the first time was. Over 25 to 30 years, I think. But like I said earlier, I remember it vividly. I woke up a little disoriented. It was dark at first until my eyes adjusted to the overhead light. As I started to get more of my bearings, I realized something wasn't right. I was laying on an operating table, and I was in real pain. The surface was cold and hard. I'm actually a biker, and my first thought was, oh god, I've been in an accident. It wouldn't be the first time that's happened. The pain is now getting worse, which is why I think I came around when I obviously shouldn't have. These things don't believe in anesthetics. But as I looked up to my horror, it wasn't a doctor working on me. It was a very tall, gray creature. I couldn't move, but I could shout, and shout I did. I remember shouting, "Why are you doing this?" I repeated it a few times, but it did not acknowledge me at all. The next thing I remember was a large needle being inserted into my left temple. The pain was terrible, and I screamed at it. "What are you doing? You are going to kill me. You are going to effing kill me. Leave me alone." And just like a vet ignoring a yelping dog, it just carried on regardless, never acknowledging me once. It had a job to do, and that's what it was going to do regardless. As it continued to insert the needle deep into my temple, I passed out. And that is all I remember until the next day. The next morning, I remember waking up a little tired and disoriented with a bad headache. I got up and went to the toilet and looked in the mirror, and to my horror, there was a red mark, a wound on my left temple. I didn't know what to think. Horrified, terrified. I remember thinking, what do I do now? I also remember thinking, what should I do? I couldn't tell anyone. Who'd believe me anyway? I didn't believe in stuff like this. No one did back then. No internet way back then, not the pop culture it is today. So I simply kept it to myself like all the other times until several months ago. I hope this first account was alright for you. Feel free not to believe me. If the shoe was on the other foot, I'm not sure I would, but everything I have told you is the truth. I'll send you another email later if you like. I'll just have to think about the next bit, as it's been a while since I thought about it. I've spent most of my life trying to block all this out. I think that is what they want you to do. But now I've gotten through the mental block. The genie is out of the bottle. Side note, whatever they put in my head had either run out of battery or has a shelf life. This is me talking right now. I think he might be referring to maybe like the implant inserted in his temple. Not 100% sure about that, but I think that's what he's referring to. Alright, back to his words. This procedure was repeated a couple years ago. Please let me know if you want me to send you the rest of my abduction experiences. Feel free to say no if you like, I won't be offended. I know it's a little hard to believe or get your head around. I struggle with that myself. All the best. Ned. Okay, Ned. Wow. Golly. First of all, thank you so much for opening up about this. I know this was very hard for you to do. And one thing that I will say, when I first heard that an abductee, that I might actually be talking to an abductee, my first thought was, no way. I mean, this is stuff that happens to people that you never meet, you know? So, at very first I was skeptical, but then it occurred to me, you know, the nature of the channel that I run, it only makes sense that if someone is having experiences like this, like Ned is having, it only makes sense that he or she would be drawn to a channel that talks about the very same stuff that he's experiencing. So, you know, what I will say is that in my contacts with Ned, he strikes me as a very honest, sincere, genuine person. So, considering that, and the fact that yes, this is a channel that talks about a lot of UFO stuff, I'm personally inclined to believe his words here. So, anyway, guys, I will be getting to more of his accounts in subsequent videos. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching.
Hey everyone, Drew here from Mad Cat Mysteries, and I hope you enjoyed the video you just watched. If you did, you can click on the subscribe button below. I'd appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.